on this cemetery here, you see the highest grave there with the gold inscription.
Yeah.
That's our family grave. So my family has been in this village for probably 15 generations or something like that. When I was growing up, there was a kiosk down just 100 meters down here. That's not anymore. There was a care center, I don't know the word for it in English, but for older people. So that was also closed by the municipality in the 90s, I guess. The store where you buy your groceries is only open in the evenings and certain hours to be of service of the people living here, and that's great. And that's also a great place for the people to meet in the village.
You have to go further to get to the doctor. You have to go further to get to the movies because it's a small place and it doesn't have all of those resources that you would have in Stockholm or some other more urban area. And so there's this challenge of that you have to travel to a lot of things.
This is the old municipality of Ramsberg building. So on the balcony, it's the shield for Ramsberg. Not used anymore. We don't really miss the city. The thing that you miss is the friends. But Ramsberg has always had a very big part of my heart. It's a period when you want to just explore the world and bigger parts of it, I guess. And during those years when you don't have any real commitments, I really enjoy the city, the bigger city, with all my friends and all my working friends, and just being out on the town and taking part of the cultural life and the nightlife in Göteborg.
Small towns tend to have a lot more social capital, like I was talking about before. So maybe you don't have lots of shops and stores and big institutions to be putting on fun events, but you have usually many more personal relationships with the people in your world. And so those personal relationships tend to some extent compensate for the lack of structural support for you. And so I think that's also something very important to think about when we think about belonging and the way that it's tied to relationships, that in smaller locations and smaller communities, those people may have a stronger sense of a community identity.
We want to contribute in the way we can. Both me and my wife are very active in different groups. And we want to have Ramsberg to thrive again, to have more people like us coming here and helping out to do this a really great village again with a lot of activities and life.
When you belong in the sense of being embedded in these relationships with others, then that really has a lot of benefits for you in the way you live your life. And it also contributes to having societies that have more going on. Societies where there are lots of networks of relationships tend to be safer societies. They tend to be more resilient in terms of dealing with economic hardship or disasters. So to the extent that belonging's tied to that social capital, it's really important.
So all the work and all the events being done in the village is done non-profitable, and that makes the people, to grow together and really know one another, and that's a really really nice thing, because you meet the people on the boxing exercises, boxing training. You meet them in the mountain bike tracks, and you meet them swimming, and you meet them in all the parties and stuff like that. So it's a very connected community, and everyone knows each other. So that's nice. It's very nice to do activities between a lot of different generations, because everyone puts their things to the table and their experiences, and the younger people push the older people to do things they wouldn't do otherwise. Nu kommer Peter. Bilen kommer snart och hämtar upp dem.
All places in Sweden, in the countryside, there are people with good hands, electric, carpenters, machines to dig, plumber. The competence is all around. You think nobody lives here, but there is a guarantee. If I ask the plumber to come, he come and do the job. If it doesn't work, he'll be back here on Sunday morning fixing it. Try that in Stockholm.
I was born here, and have when I grew up, I lived in big cities as Stockholm, and I have also lived abroad in Belgium. But when I have three children, 3 girls, and then I felt I would like to go home. And in Ramsberg is a very small community, and my parents still lives here, and my one sister lives here, and I have 2 sisters in a nearby village. So it was natural for me and my family to come back.
I'm not Swedish. I come from England, and but I've lived in Sweden more or less half my life now, and I've always felt very at home in Sweden. I'm not quite sure why, but I've never felt part of a community till I came here, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I think it's possibly to do with being part of a church.
I find belonging with all the people in the village, or most people in the village. With everything we do, I find belonging. And people are very, they care for one another. Everyone cares for one another, and that creates a big belonging.
So, all in all, I belong here. I will stay here.
After I was 9, we moved to that brick house, the red brick house there. So, and my parents still live there now. So my children spend a lot of time there. So on these streets, I learned, to ride the bicycle, and we ran around because it was children all over this area. So a lot of childhood memories from this place. And now I'm back with my children. So that's very special. Så kanske.
pappa här uppifrån från Örebro. Jag vet inte vad fan han heter. Han har ju tydligen varit här. Och Ola hade pratat med honom och då sa han, den här gubben från Örebro. Nu när jag blir pensionär snart, då ska jag flytta till Ramsberg. Här ska jag bo. Det är stenklart så. Hit ska jag flytta och bo när jag blir pensionär.